I mean, it's like an epidemic, man. The dads are dying young, going to jail young, and basically it's all because they don't have jobs, man. They don't have the skills to maintain a proper life. That's what I was going through, you know, sitting at home, and it's like, man, I gotta do something, you know. I'm putting in a lot of applications, ain't nothing happening. I gotta feed my family, you know, and I know that within a matter of time, it's gonna be prison. I went to prison when I was 19. I got out at 29.
If you didn't get a good education and you got caught up in crime and now you're 26 years old and you've spent years in the penitentiary and you have several children, you've probably gotten a GED. But the big difference now is you no longer want to live the reckless lifestyle on the fringes.
Upon my release, you know, I've been through quite a few jobs, nothing permanent, and I say last year was really rough on me and my family.
We are a vocational training school. We're the only one in North Minneapolis. And the people who come here are looking for a way to get into the mainstream.
I sat down with my wife and was like, look, you know, I gotta do something. I know it's gonna be hard, but I can't find a job, so school or trade, something's got to happen.
We believe the best social service program in the world is a job. Why? Well, one, it gives you income. Income allows you to do things like buy a house, have savings, have reliable transportation, be able to take care of your children properly. The average guy coming to Summit earned $5,600 last year. After 20 weeks, we averaged placement wages of $16.34 an hour.
They're giving the community a chance to grow, you know, basically to rebuild.
Artie is a man, 34 years old, who wears a wedding band, who has a 4.0 here, who is now on his way, a top student here. He is a living example of what we do.
I always knew I had, you know, some type of leadership quality about myself, and, you know, just being here around my classmates, you know, they kind of look up to me, and, you know, it just feels good, you know.
Every day you can commit yourself to something, that stops becoming change and it becomes your life. Your life is how you live it, and you have a new set of values to take forward as you begin your journey.
I gotta walk down, you know, a different road. And it's hard because the friends I have, I really love them, but it's like they're not growing up, you know, they're not getting the picture. So I just wanna kind of be like a leader and show them there is something different than, excuse me, man, than the street life, you know, so.
We're going to have a labor shortfall in construction beginning in the year 2013. Our infrastructure is crumbling and will place big demands on us while we have a shortage of workers.
So now is exactly the time that we need to be training new people so that in 5 years we don't have a shortage of people who are able to build all of the projects that we can now build because we have a transportation bill that became law.
Isaiah really gives me hope that you know, we are once again coming together around the major issues necessary to keep our community strong. And that's a true partnership, putting people to work and making sure that we have the infrastructure necessary to keep our region competitive.
The bill says states can set aside federal transportation dollars for training, retention, and recruitment of minorities and women into highway construction jobs.
We need people like Isaiah to join with us as we say, fulfill the letter of the law, do what's good for our community, do what's good for our state, and allow these people to have the opportunity to take care of themselves.
This legislature, I've never seen such a positive response. People were like, why aren't we already doing this?
Isaiah has been there to represent the least amongst us and to represent people who really need their advocacy.
And that's what Isaiah brings to the table. Inner city folks, suburban folks, expert folks. I mean, it's the kind of coalition that you couldn't dream of.
Because I know inside I'm a good person. It took me 34 years, man, to get to this point. Wish it would have happened sooner, but hey.
Lots of times we wanted to call the cops, we held back because we would say, you know, it's our father. We can't do that to him. He's the one that provides for us.
You know, a generation ago, none of that would happen. You'd call the police and they'd say, hey, this is a private matter.
My mom wouldn't leave because she was so much afraid of not knowing where to go, where to get help. It was really hard for her. I begged her lots and lots of times for her to leave.
What women go through, of course, initially is fear, shame, embarrassment. Like, what did I do? Initially, we assume we did something wrong.
My mom decided that it was time to go when, after her cancer, she said no more.
I was in that marriage for 13 years and I didn't tell a soul it was happening to me until the night that it was so terrifying for me when he tried to strangle me while I was holding our son.
Then she realized, what have I done? I've put my children at risk.
It affects public safety. It's the most dangerous call that our police officers can respond to. It affects public health.
Often they think there isn't an impact on children because the abuse may happen at night and they think the children are in bed or sleeping. They hear it. They feel the tension in the house.
How can a kid go to school and learn when he's been up all night because of the trauma in his house? Probably didn't get breakfast, certainly didn't do his homework.
What kind of personal strength does it take for a child who grows up in the middle of that to grow up and say, you know what, I want a different life?
It's a very scary feeling when you're, like me, playing around with your toys and all of a sudden you hear screaming and throwing of things, you know, and you're just wondering what's going on. And then you don't hear anything. And it's like, is my mom alive? And then you run to see if you know, if your brothers and sisters are safe. And if you find them, you run together and just hold each other. And you just think, is it over? When is it gonna stop?
It's your own little prison. It's a prison that you go home to every night. And as Christians, I think we have a duty to reach out to these people.
Isaiah, a few years ago, decided to make domestic violence one of its priority issues.
And I was blown away by the nature and extent of domestic violence in Ramsey County, where I'd practiced and lived all my life. Until the community says we won't tolerate in the home behavior that we wouldn't tolerate on the street, until that happens, the people whom we elect or choose to be in charge in our community are going to ignore it.
The message of Christ to care for one another is certainly lost if people are not treating each other well within their homes.
Jesus would never ignore those people.
What we've been trying to do is create laws here that make sense, that give police and the court the tools to properly intervene in these kinds of cases. It's providing resources for victim advocates who can help victims and give them the kind of support to get out of an abusive relationship.
The benefits of us as a society supporting these people through this transition are tremendous.
And it's not just about laws, and it's not just about arresting people, it's changing the culture, it's changing the way people think about men and women and relationships.
The heartening part about that is that if we keep the issue alive, other things will change as well. And that's where organizations like Isaiah come into play.
That's what Isaiah does. They take their faith, they take their beliefs, they take their passions, and they make it work for social justice.
And that's what I'm grateful for, even though it took her 27 years to get out of that relationship.
I thank Isaiah for answering God's call to help those who really need help. And this is a time of great need for a lot of people.
They've been a group that has impressed me immensely about their commitment to social issues that affect other people.
We all have an obligation to make change.
Isaiah Grip is a group of people that have impact.
That's their only interest, is people. You know, you say they're a special interest group. Yeah, they are. Their special interest is people.
Passionate soldiers for social change. That's a good thing.